So how did that journey into sport come to life? Did you play other sports before? Kind of what's that all about?
I think I did the norm where everyone plays football when they're young, but I wasn't necessarily a sports person. I had a couple of friends that always message me, "Why don't you join? You love rugby. I think it's perfect for you." I think they would bug me a lot because they knew how much I would click with the sport.
Okay, so it was very much like that almost peer pressure element which pushed you into it. And that led to what, 15 years of playing rugby? You're still playing rugby now?
Almost.
So that's quite impressive. And it's obviously a very high contact physical sport. Injuries are part of it. Do you feel that rugby is too physical at times? Do you enjoy that side of things, or do you wish that there was a little bit more regulation around the amount of contact in the game?
I think the physical aspect of it is what makes it rugby, you know. The game, the core pillar of the game is domination. Ultimately, it's dominating the opponent to get the ball to the other side, and the physical is the most important tool
Of course.
to exert the
To get
domination.
there. No, totally. I've never thought of it in that way, but it's very true. And what I do see from, obviously, same thing, 15, 20 years of rugby, is although there is this huge physical element, it tends to breed respect and dedication like very few other sports do. So this highly physical element, I know it's the same in a lot of other physical sports, almost builds a bond with your opponent. So that almost leads you to this culture where you want to be friends with the person that you play against as well, which I don't think happens as much in other sports.
The respect was a big part of it. I mean, it's a value that I held to my heart, and I loved how, first of all, the referee is God in the field. Like, you don't disrespect the referee. It's the number one rule. I think we don't get it a lot with other sports, and it's a shame. So it's a physical domination side, but there's also this element of respect, which I liked, and as soon as the whistle stops, you're shaking the other guy's hand. More often than not, you probably had a scuffle, but you still go and you still shake his hand. There's no hard feelings. We drink a beer together, and that's done. Chapter closed.
Very true. And talking about a beer after, obviously the post-rugby culture, like a lot of people associate with rugby with this excessive drinking culture. I mean, we've both been there, we've both had our times doing this. Do you feel that that's too excessive? Do you feel like there's too much of it associated with amateur rugby? Or do you feel it's a part that almost goes hands in hand and is essential?
I remember when I the first thing I did with Stompers Rugby is, I think, before even coming to a training session, I think I came to a pub crawl, and it's the part that drew me in and kept me there at times. I think it's an essential part, first of all, of building the team bonding, because every time you are expected to be there after the match to have a beer with, first of all, your opponent and your team. And at that time, obviously, we were young, and you're going out anyways, and having this sort of 25 men, ensemble, drinking beers, making fun of each other, it was something that kept me going.
Definitely. I mean, I can't promote that you're drinking excessive alcohol or any of that, but I mean, my viewpoint, I'm being 100% honest. I do feel that having that group of friends around me helped me to stay in sports. And nowadays we're seeing more and more problems with kids quitting sport because they want to go out, or they want to focus on other things. So that's definitely one of the things that kept me there, having this massive community of people that I really respected and staying around that. And secondly, believe it or not, especially in my teens and 20s, I went out less because of rugby, because I knew if my friends were out on a Wednesday night, I have training on Thursday. I don't want to be there. If my friends are out on a Friday night, I have a game on a Saturday. I don't want to do anything which is going to affect my performance on the Saturday. So it's true that there is the post-game culture, but there could almost be an argument towards like it is pushing health to some extent, keeping people in sport and helping them there, obviously outside of excess.
I think revisiting how Stompers was as a club, yes, we went out on a Saturday after the game, but we never went out on a Friday, and that was religion for us, even if we're going out to eat with friends, not even one glass of wine, and that was non-negotiable.
Definitely. And I think it was a big part of, and still is a big part of the culture, that you want to perform, you don't want to let your mates down, and although you're playing at an amateur level, you're trying to be as professional as possible, and especially around national team, we saw that more and more, and I'm sure we'll speak about that. But you spoke to me a bit about the fact that rugby, you feel, changed you as a person, or if not, accentuated certain traits in you, which you still feel come out in your life today. Could you tell me a bit more about that? Like, what was that journey like for you?
I think rugby has, first of all, rugby is a big game of chess, I believe, and to dominate, you need to instill some, non-negotiables in how you play or decision making, if you want to be better, that is. And I think once you apply them in the game, you realize that, listen, you need to live these
Values.
these traits, these values, not just implement them in the game. And most often than not, I like to say this, that most people who excel in rugby also excel at their success in life as well. I see it a lot. I feel it as well. Like
Definitely. I mean, one of the big things I look for when I come to recruit, when I'm looking for physios or people to work at Rise, is a background in sports. I feel that having that discipline that comes from sport is something huge. And I think both of us have been highly taught these things by one of our original national team coaches, Damien Neal, and he's instilled a lot of values, I think, in both of us. There are some which stick in your mind and some which stick in mine. So when we were preparing for this, it was nice to see kind of which values we both remembered. And you mentioned a big one, which is that when we trained with national team and then went back to club, you really wanted to teach the people at club level, at kind of the lower level of rugby, the same things you learned from national team. So was that one of the things that...
I think I want to say hello from here to Damien, because I think he was one of the anchor characters in our life, and we were fortunate sort of to experience being coached by him. I think training with Damien and you get these nuggets of wisdom or these statements with him as well. It was all about controlling the controllables, and more often than not, it's the details that you didn't think of. So yes, certain aspects of how he used to, put a perspective on something. For example, he's like, always be first. If there's a line to do an exercise, always be first. If you're thinking about something twice, you're probably already too late. These things stay in your mind, and you feel like, oh, like this could guide me. It's a principle that could guide me. So. Then we went back down to the club, you feel like you have to impart this wisdom onto the other players, and that somehow gives you this sort of leadership role.
Definitely.
Most often than not.
Definitely, and it really comes out, and it's also very interesting that we're not talking about a national team coach or a mentor, because in reality he takes a figure as a mentor of, I want to teach you how to pass better or kick the ball better. It's really the underlying value which is making the big difference. So that's forming your character, forming your psychology, and then the result of scoring a try or passing the ball well is almost a given, because you were there 5 minutes early for training, you're the first one to the ball, you always want to leave a place better than you find it, and that's all.
Exactly, and he would come down in the morning, okay, you did well, but what if you, instead of sleeping at midnight, you slept at 11? What if you slept at 10? What if you got down early and prepared your bag before? You wouldn't be late on the bus. You always arrive to somewhere, I feel, and then he opens up a new set of unlocks a new level to achieve. That's what I liked about him, because and he would put it in such a way, like, what if you do this? Like, you could be better at that. What if you go down 30 minutes before a training session and actually kick some balls up in the air and catch them, and these are the things that sometimes I hear him in my head,
Definitely.
I remember as well during COVID times, he used to get in touch, and he's like, what are you doing? I told him, what can I do? I'm stuck at home. And he's like, you know what I do? I earn points to do stuff. And he's like, if I want to eat something from the microwave, I have to do 30 push-ups, So he would implement this system for himself, and I think that's where he's great at putting these
quite a
perspectives.
master. Yeah, definitely. Here at Rise, we know that sleep is the best recovery your body can get. And everyone knows that if you want proper sleep, you need a fantastic mattress. And that's where our recovery partner, Haga, comes in. Haga Sleep is a local Maltese company that stands tall behind their first product, the Haga mattress. Made using their patented Zetic foam, it's a metamaterial that adapts to your body and hugs you back. If you'd like to connect with Haga, you can book a consultation either here in our Balsam facility or at the Slima pop-up. Or if you're ready to buy, head on to hagasleep.com/rise for an exclusive 15% discount on their mattresses. This offer runs through 2026.